talking about animals, I can talk all day if you want.
I know. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll do the same, Alex. Once you have it up, I'll send it to David so he can push it out.
Okay.
I like your mic setup. That's pretty cool. It's like out of the way, but in the air at the
This
same
here.
time.
So I actually
Yeah.
need a tabletop for it, but I've just moved into a new house, so I'm stuck in a little corner in my kitchen. It's not ideal, but it works, so we'll go with it. The good thing about this is if you're on a tabletop mic, this is on like a little elastic thing, so it doesn't, like if I stamp on the floor or bang something, that doesn't pick up. Whereas a tabletop will pick up the vibrations and stuff. So
That makes a lot of sense.
I've used it about 3 times. So I'm hoping, now I'm in my new home, I'm hoping to do a lot more this kind of stuff. So
do you normally make content outside of just being on the street interviewing people as well? It sounds like, I mean, you got this whole setup here.
well, I used to do during COVID. I did like a little YouTube podcast series with people. Trying to think who we had on. We had Juliet Galatly from Viva, Roger Hallam, if you know who that is. He organised the rebellions here, so I was working with him with Animal Rebellion in London at the time. Who else? Colleen Patrick Goodrow. Do you know her?
I do not.
She's a great advocate and speaker. She's American. So we had quite a few really, really good guests on. But once COVID ended, it was back out in the streets again, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. What was your podcast name?
Tribe Talk.
Tribe
Trying to
Talk.
remember because it's like 5 years ago. Tribe Talk. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. Also, no, you're good. Also, I sent the link in the chat room here. John, if you want to share it to the WhatsApp with him, it might be easier.
Yeah,
but
if you WhatsApp it to
Yeah.
me and then I'll put it on my Instagram story and then people will pick it up, hopefully.
Gotcha. Yep, it is on the way. Okay.
we have 3 people live already. Hi, everybody.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna start the podcast soon. Just trying to share it to our platform so more people can come.
Just give me
Yeah,
10 seconds to share this on my story.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I'm a boomer with technology, by the way. So.
I think I'm gonna ask your age in a minute and you're gonna blow some minds here.
Share to my story too.
Okay, done. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Let's put it
So-
out there so people can find it.
Sweet. So how are you guys? How's your day going?
Just
I
getting
literally
started.
woke up. Yeah.
What time is it there? 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Where are you
Okay.
guys based? Whereabouts?
Florida right now.
Right?
Ah. Hey, wait to hear this. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. I have been since 1984.
Hey.
Wow.
That's awesome. How come?
That's my other passion in life is American football. I love it. I'm not just a fan, I would say I'm a mega fan of American football. So
That's interesting.
Yeah. I am like
All right, we're trying to post the link.
whereabouts in
Have
Florida?
you spent time over here, Cliff?
I was in Florida last year and I'm coming this summer again.
We're gonna have to meet up.
Yeah, are you anywhere near Orlando?
We're in Gainesville right now, so like 2 hours from Orlando.
Yeah, we should, man. We should meet halfway or something. Be cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this vegan squad house that we do every now and again. So we did one last year, and for the whole month of April, we're getting a big like 5-bedroom house in Orlando, and there's gonna be 6 or 7 of us all vegan staying at the house for a whole month. So
Oh
it's gonna
man,
be
that
fun.
sounds awesome. I'll tell you what, last year I was warned about the heat and humidity. And like I've been around a lot of Europe and experienced really hot temperatures, but geez, I could not believe it. Like it was 40 odd degrees some days. Cooking hot.
Yeah, it's
It's-
crazy.
Like if you're on the coast, it's not so bad, but if you come to the middle of Florida, it is literally a swamp. And so it'll be like 90-something% humidity, 90-something degrees in the United States, which sounds like it's like 40 in your
Yeah.
district. And just, it's hard. People are like, you'll get used to it. I'm like, I've been here for 33 years. I've been here my whole life. I'm still not used to it. I'm not getting used to it.
Yeah, we drove down to, in Orlando, there's a little cat sanctuary, and me and Mia drove down one day and parked somewhere near it. And then when we came out, I couldn't find my car. And geez, man, the temperature. I was walking in this car park going, get me to my car. So after that, Mia downloaded a little app so that would never happen again. So even like 10 minutes in a car park and not heat is like insufferable. It's so warm. Like, I'm good with heat, but holy moly. Like, it's different stuff. Yeah, I'll be there in the summer again, coming in July.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Would love to meet you.
Let's hook up for sure. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Wow. I figure we should at least introduce you and get this started. And we can keep all this too. Like, we're pretty open here. It's not super corporate or anything. I mean, there's just a couple of guys today. Sometimes we have ladies on here, but today a couple of guys hanging out and talking about some real world stuff. So welcome back to the Vegan Squad pod, everyone. Today we have Clif Grant, an amazing animal rights activist all the way over from the UK. He's been an inspiration to me, and I am the bodybuilding vegan. Been vegan for 20 years, bodybuilding for 18. We got Alex, aka your vegan mentor 1, over here as my co-host. And we're sending wishes to Jordan today. He's not doing so well. Normally he's here with us, but he's got some personal health issues he's battling. So we're keeping him in our thoughts. So today, though, we're going to get to dive in with Clif, learn a little bit about his backstory. If you can't tell, he's got a little bit of an accent. He's from the other side of the world. But with this wonderful thing called Instagram and technology, we're able to connect with people around the world. And I want to learn more about Clif's story. A lot of us have, I think, the need to thank Clif and other people like him that have been doing this for a very long time and paved the way for activists like myself and Alex today. And then I'm also interested to dive a little bit more into your own personal experiences, Clif, and see what you've learned on the activism side after doing this for so long. So to get started, like I said, I was going to bring up your age. Do you mind sharing how old you are?
I'm 58, just past 58 in January. So
could pass for mid-40s.
Yeah, I'd never be able to tell.
People say that. If you see close up, you can see the wrinkles, man. But I've kept myself in shape over the years. I was a surf for a long time, and then I got into road cycling, and I was cycling, like racing, for many years, keeping myself fit, eating a healthy diet. So I'm very lucky that way. I'm very lucky that I fell into a plant-based diet at quite a young age as well. I think that's helped me. But yeah, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah,
for sure. How long?
Yeah.
Have you been vegan?
So my answer to this always is I was vegan since I was a child, 5 years old, in here, because I've always loved animals. But I was just taught by society and by those around me that you have to eat animals, you have to wear animal products. And so it was a gradual process right up, and I stopped all animal products when I was 19 years old. Consuming them, but I was still wearing leather and stuff. So I would say I was a strict vegetarian for a large part of my life. But in my heart, I've been vegan since I was a child. I would never have wanted to harm an animal ever, and if I did it even accidentally, I would feel really bad about it, you know. So I started joining dots from I lived in the countryside, and there was a dairy farm like just around the corner. So I started joining the dots from a very, very young age with that. Stopped drinking milk at 5 years old, would you believe?
And are you saying dots, like DOTS?
Yes, dots, yeah.
I'm not familiar with what that is. Maybe that's different where you're at.
Joining dots is like, do you remember those little puzzles you used to do, and they'd be numbered 1 to 100, and you join them up?
Connecting the dots, joining the dots. Yes. Okay, great.
Join the dots, yeah. So probably a colloquialism to hear. So I started connecting the dots from a very young age. So I stopped milk at 5. I was lying in bed. We had a small house in the countryside, and I could hear the cows were bellowing every night, like night after night after night. And at 5 years old, all I was concerned about was they were keeping me awake at night. And I remember saying to my mom, why are they why are they making so much noise at night? They're keeping me awake. And she told me they'd taken the babies away from them, and they were crying out for the babies. I was 5 years old, and I was like, I'm not cool with that at all. I remember thinking in my heart, that's terrible, because I just started primary school, and I remember my mum leaving me off in the first couple of weeks. She used to drive away, and I was very connected to my mum. I used to stand, she used to turn her car and drive off, and I'd feel this horrible feeling on my heart, because I'd been at home with her, like, obviously up until that point. And then I was able to connect that to how the cows must have been feeling as well, and it's a horrible feeling. And I was like, nah, I'm not drinking milk anymore. I was still eating cheese and stuff, but I only connected dairy at that age with milk. And then I saw my granddad, he'd been fishing and caught a fish, and he was cutting the fish in his kitchen, and I was like, not cool with that. So I told my mum I'm not eating fish anymore. And then at 7, I stopped eating pork. Remember, guys, this back in the day, I mean, we're talking in the early 1970s, no information at all. Like, I'm 7 years old, and all I remember saying to him was, you see that pink meat, which was pork at the time? I'm not eating that anymore. So I stopped that.
No.
And they chased her down, and put chains around her neck, dragged her off. I was deeply upset by it, like properly. I was shouting at them to stop them. She had escaped from the slaughterhouse, and that I was.
Cliff,
I'm not.
so sorry.
1 second, Cliff. We lost you for just a second. I think it's a recording setting. I'm going to turn it off on our end.
It's saying
So
up
sorry about that.
going along. You're okay, you're grand.
Yeah, we can rewind like 15 seconds. I'm sorry. I know it's in the middle of that. Yeah. I think you're good now.
The pig where you stopped eating pork, and
I stopped eating pork at 7 years old. I was saying, I remember saying to my mum, that pink meat, I didn't even know what it was. I'm not eating that anymore. So that was like bacon and pork sausages and stuff. And then at 10, I saw a cow. I was playing football with my best friend, and the local abattoir, as we called it in those days, or slaughterhouse, was across a couple of fields. And I saw a cow running across the field, and then 2 guys running after the cow, and they cornered her in the corner of the field. And I get upset when I talk about this. It deeply affected me. Trying not to cry. They beat her with sticks. They beat her so viciously that she fell onto the ground and was lying on the ground, and they still continued to beat her. And me and my friend at 10 years old were shouting at them to stop. And sorry, guys, I'm recounting this.
Okay.
This is how badly this affected me. A van then came across the field, like an old van, white van, and they tied ropes and chains around her legs and around her neck, and they drove off across the field, dragging the herd behind them, which scarred me forever. I'm trying to compose myself, sorry. And I remember my dad, I was like, why the hell would anybody do that? And he was like, oh, she's escaped from the slaughterhouse, and they've dragged her back. And I was like, what the fuck? I remember lying in bed that night thinking, holy shit. And I'd probably eaten red meat that day, or a burger that day, most likely. But I was like, okay, that's going now too, so I'm not eating red meat anymore. So I was still eating, I think chicken was the last thing I was consuming right up until I was 19, and then I realised, because I thought you had to. I genuinely, in those days, thought you had to. That's what I was taught, you need it. And then I realised that you don't need it, and I stopped. I was, like I say, I was still consuming animal product, not consuming wearing leather and probably using cosmetics that were tested on animals. You guys are lucky you have the internet. I had nothing back in those days. I was living in a wee country place with no access to books or internet or anything at all. So it took me a lot of years to connect those dots by myself. But I finally got there. So yeah, the answer to the question is I've been vegan since I was a child. I just wasn't my actions just weren't aligning with my views, but it was not because of me. It was because of the things I'd been taught, you know?
Absolutely. And it's really, you know, you were one of the first people probably in the world to go, I mean, like to go vegan at that time. You're probably one of the first at that time. So
Oh no, there's been people vegan a lot longer. I mean, I wasn't vegan then. That's what I'm saying to you. I would say I was a strict vegetarian. I didn't go vegan until I seen the Urofsky speech.
Okay.
I'm going to say it was around 2013 or so. Gotcha. And that's when I fully went vegan. I saw that speech and I went, oh shit. Because I thought I was doing enough. Like most vegetarians back in those days thought they were. And when I saw the speech, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm vegan. Instantly.
I think that's, well, Gary was our first guest on this new podcast. So it's really cool to hear that. He actually helped one of me and Alex's best friends go vegan almost 10 years ago. And I just want to say, I don't know their name. Their handle is Akash. And they said, Clif, I became vegan because of you on January 3rd. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Making a huge difference. And I think you're right, man. Like Alex and I are so privileged that we had the internet. Actually, I went vegetarian 23 years ago. I was 10 years old and my friend told me if you eat that hamburger, you're killing a cow. So kind of the same thing. She helped wake me up. I didn't do it instantly, and same as you. I started not eating certain animals until I became vegetarian. And then 3 years later, it wasn't the internet. Actually, it was a magazine, a PETA magazine that helped me go vegan. So now for anybody listening to this, like it's so easy to spread this knowledge and spread this information, because I'm sure for you, Cliff, at least for me, I was the only vegetarian I knew. I was the only vegan I knew for a very long time. There weren't people out there that just could give this information to you. So I agree with you. In your heart, you've been vegan this whole time, and you've just been fighting this entire societally driven monster and machine that's makes it almost impossible for us to do this without that education. Or had you not seen that, I know it's been a traumatic event for you. I could tell the pain that you still carry from it, but
man, that's 50 years ago almost, and that I still feel the pain of that when I talk about it. Like it scarred me for life. I think that's one of the reasons that I became an activist, because I feel compelled to speak for them so much, you know. Yeah, people paying for that and don't know. I think they know in some degree, but they've been taught all these lies with society, like you say. Everybody's been brainwashed into thinking you have to eat it and it's normal. And they hide behind the crowd, I think a lot of people too. And then there's loads of things happening in the industries that people don't know. People believe this humane bullshit. And I think most decent people, when you speak to them and explain it, they may not go vegan straight away, but at least then I can walk away from the conversation and say, well, okay, well, now that person knows. What they do with that information is completely up to them. I have no control over that. Yeah. That's why I feel compelled to impart the knowledge, because I know loads of people who, like people I speak to on the street. This is the reason I started uploading on the internet, is because somebody said to me one day, you know, you can have one conversation with one person and it might take half an hour on the street, but if I share that conversation, there's stuff of value in there for loads of people online to see. So loads of people online have the same questions and the same arguments that person has, so they don't have to stand and talk to me on the street. They can see it straight away, you know, and go, oh, shit, right, I thought this, but this guy's just debunked that, you know.
Right.
So I'm very blessed that somebody said to me years ago, you should record your conversations, when I was doing AV and stuff, and I never did. I was organizing so many things I never got around to it, and I'm very glad I did, because honestly, man, I get maybe, I would say on average 30 or 40 messages a week from people now. I don't get to read all my messages, I get so many, but I would say on average between 25 and 40 messages every week from people saying they're going vegan because of my content. So like, I'm so blessed that I can make that difference. So that's what drives me to keep going out and keep doing it, you know.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's very smart. I mean, like, we need activists in every area, and there's many different forms of activism. I think it's also important for us to use the tools of our time. If this was 20 years ago, we'd be writing books, giving out leaflets, pamphlets, but now we have, it's funny because like Instagram for most people is just a a way for them to see funny videos or to connect with their friends, but you literally have the ability to change lives when you use this platform in the way that you do, and save lives, animal lives. Like,
Well,
it's
that's what it's about, man. I'm not doing Instagram. It's not for notoriety, or I don't consider myself an influencer. Or maybe I am influencing people, but I'm certainly not an influencer at all. I am out there to make a difference for the animals, and that's it. That's what it all centers around. Get as many people to go vegan as possible, and I kind of see it like, if I make one person go vegan, well, then they might make another person go vegan, or they might be the next Gary Yourofsky or the next James Aspey and make hundreds of people go vegan. So that's what it's about.
yeah. And that is, like, we've tried with this podcast. Alex and I had this walk and talk and discussion where we're like, what if we get 200 people like Clif Grant in a room, like of that same level, that same caliber and experience, and we learn from all of them? And I was like, well, who's going to talk? How are we going to listen? How are we going to disseminate information? 200 people trying to talk at once just won't work. So next best option is to interview each individually and try and learn from you. And Gary, I think, is probably one of the most prolific activists in the world. He did his tour for like 18 years straight. And he said his biggest regret was only that he didn't encourage people to become activists instead of encouraging them to become vegan. So I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's not our jobs, in my opinion, just to get people to make the personal decision for themselves to stop, but also to carry that responsibility in whatever way that they can. Maybe not everybody can get on the street and hold a sign like you, Clif, and record it, because that takes a lot of courage. And I've tried to do it. Alex and I've tried to do it, and it's so intimidating. I'm a huge bodybuilder, still so intimidating for me to do it, but it's not very intimidating for me to hit that little button that shares your post and helps get that to a lot of people. And so I want to encourage people that going vegan is just the start. That is just the start. The way that, if you don't like seeing slaughterhouse footage, if you don't like seeing animals hurt, then you need to keep speaking up and keep sharing and keep posting and keep putting this message out there so that other people can wake up and then hopefully follow suit. So
even just sharing somebody else's content, if you can't do it yourself, is still a form of activism. There's so many ways you can be active that people think, oh, I have to go and stand outside a slaughterhouse, or I have to go and interview people on the street. You don't have to do anything that you're not. Okay, there's a certain amount of discomfort. I still have to gather myself before I do my street stuff, because I want to do a good job for the animals. So I will stand and center myself. And I'm not spiritual, by the way, when I say that, but I center myself and I say, right, okay, I've got this. I know the answers. I know how to speak to people, and I'm going to do the best job that I can for the animals today. And even if I say something that's wrong or incorrect, I still tried my best, or I will be trying my best for them. And I do that every single time, and I take a few deep breaths, and then I set my camera up and away I go. So not everything in this world is comfortable, but you can push yourself beyond your comfort zone, especially if you're doing it for a good cause. Sometimes
thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing the mindset and the grounding. And also, I think it's important to, like you said, even if you don't say the quote unquote right thing, you're still putting yourself out there and doing your best and navigating that conversation.
Yeah. I have a good activist friend called Sean, and he said to me, man, if you're out there speaking for the animals, you cannot say the wrong thing. And I took that on board, so a lot of conversations I used to walk away from thinking, I should have said this or I should have said that. And hindsight's 20/20. But if you're trying your very best, you can't really say the wrong thing.
I agree, because Gary wasn't perfect on day one. This great speech he does, he did it thousands of times, and he perfected it as he went. Like, if we all just didn't get started because we're not great right now, it's like me when I first went to the gym. I couldn't lift anything. I was super small and weak.
Yeah.
But if you
I remember doing a speech. They asked me to do a speech at a vegan festival here 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I ended up reading the whole bloody thing, like pages and pages. Just stood there reading it, and I thought, shit, I'm never going to do that again. Never do it again. So now I prepare better, and you learn. I've learned over the years what to say and stuff. So if you ask me to go and speak now somewhere for 2 hours on animal rights, I could probably pick up a mic and do it straight away. So when you start and where you end up are not the same thing. It's a journey, Just because your first conversation's on the streets crap doesn't mean to say in 6 months' time you won't be the best activist out there.
Yeah. and even a crappy conversation about this. I mean, we probably don't want to run around and yell at people and make them get defensive, but if you're out there speaking from the heart and just having a conversation, I don't think you could ever leave somebody less vegan than the first time they talk to you about it. And the conversation for other people that maybe on the street sounds like a lot, you have friends, you have family members, you have social media. More than likely, if you're watching this, like, that conversation can be in many different places. It doesn't have to just be on the street. So I want to reel back just a moment and kind of get caught up from at 19, when it was 19 years old where you officially went vegan?
No,
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 I'm sorry.
strict vegetarian.
Strict vegetarian. Okay, and then it was 2013. You heard Gary and went vegan then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did that look like for you? What options did they have for food? What did you like to eat, or what did you find to eat? Like, was that hard, that transition?
You're talking way back in the day? Because way back in the day, there were, like, when I first went strict vegetarian, all I can remember you could get that resembled like a meat alternative was a bag of like dried soybeans in a local health food shop, and it came in a little, not cardboard, like a paper bag. This stuff was as hard as a rock, and you had to soak it in water. It had no flavor to it, and it was like it's just horrible. But I found my way into my diet. I try to eat as much as possible whole food, plant-based, and always have. And then with being an athlete for a lot of my life, you know, especially with road cycling and stuff, it was a very high carbohydrate diet, which I actually believe I don't push diet on people. I don't really care what you eat. You can eat what you want. Just don't eat somebody. You know? I care about who you eat. So if you wanted to talk about diet, which I don't really care about, I believe that high carb, low fat is the healthiest diet, but that worked for me for a long time. But there was, way back in the day, there was virtually no alternative at all. And I seen you the other day, John, you were getting all the candy bars and stuff and the Snickers and all that. Like, that was just, no. The only thing you got was proper dark chocolate, you know, the real bitter stuff. And when you're like 20 years old, that's like, holy shit, no, not having that. But so it's been great the last few years with the explosion of vegan products. There's so much out there now. So much. Some kids in the street asked me yesterday, what do you eat? Rabbit food? And I'm like, I literally eat every single thing that you eat. I just eat a vegan version of it.
Yeah. And it's actually good now. Like 20 years ago, some of the vegan cheeses were not very good.
Even 5 years ago, they were shit. They were crap. But now they're awesome. They're really, really awesome.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, because we do cover fitness in our day-to-day life. That's a large part of what we do with our coaching team is coach people. When you were saying high carb, especially for cycling, like, what did that, like, was that a lot of bananas or dates, or like what were your carbohydrates?
Yeah. Loads of pasta, loads of oatmeal, rice, stuff like that, particularly before a race, because the race would be maybe 120 odd K. No, 120 miles, maybe 180 K, something like that. So, I mean, you're talking 3 or 4 hours, and it's like hitting the wall in the marathon after a certain length of time. If you do not carb up, you are royally screwed. and people talk about the bunk. The bunk is when your body runs out of sugar, basically. So you need to eat a massive amount of carbs the night before a race, and probably on the morning too. And then during a race, loads of people would use like energy gels and stuff. They're like little, I don't know, like a toothpaste tube, and you squirt it in your mouth, and it's just fructose and glucose and sugar straight into your bloodstream. But I used to eat a lot of dates. You know, the big Vidoes dates? I'd wrap them in tinfoil and use those, because they're unreal for sugar content and for fiber too, which is great. But I love dates. And they're great for energy. Actually, even if you're going to the gym or anything like that, those would be a great, you know, if you're feeling low, your blood sugar low or whatever. Dates are the ideal thing.
I use
loads of calories. At one point, pre-race, if I was training during the week and racing at the weekend, I'd be eating 6,000 calories a day, which is a lot. And
a lot of food.
Racing weight, I'm 6 foot, 70 kgs.
Okay, that's like
you guys are
60 pounds, I think.
It's like 10 stone something or other. Like you go to a race,
154
you go to a high level race, bike race, and you see you've probably seen it on TV. When you actually go there, like the guys, that kind of sex, like people are so lean, it's unbelievable.
It makes sense. Like you got less mass to carry, so you can get a little bit more out of what you got. Okay, so then 2013 you listened to Gary. When did you start doing your own activism? When did that journey begin?
So I actually emailed Gary after I watched the speech a few days afterwards because I thought I really need to be doing something here. I felt guilty because, and I'm sure you guys felt that too, for all the pain and suffering that I've paid for throughout my life. I didn't need to or want to either. And then so I emailed him, and all parts of him, he answered me straight away. And I don't remember the email now. I probably have it somewhere, but it was really like abrupt and to the point. Like that's Gary. He's just like straight to it, and he was like, "Yeah, just get out there and do it, and never bullshit people. Just tell them the truth. Just say the truth as it is." And then a few days after that, I got some leaflets printed off. This is years ago now. I remember 500 leaflets. And I went out on the streets and was handing them out. But I realized I'm not a big fan of leafleting. Not a big fan of it. I realized I'd give them all out after a couple of hours, and then I was walking up the street and I passed a bin, and the top of the bin was full of scrumpled up leaflets that I've handed to people. And I thought to myself, how many people will actually read those leaflets? And would it not be better if I had a conversation? And I was already watching, I've come across James Aspey doing his street interviews on Ed back in the day, Earthling Ed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys followed him from the start, but at the start he was going out to Trafalgar Square in London with a little handheld microphone and just walking up to people and started talking to them. So it was Joey, Ed, and James Aspey. And I thought, I could probably do that. And I started doing it. And then I was running, I had a AV chapter going in Belfast for a long time until COVID. I was running that and 2 save vigils at 2 different slaughterhouses pre-COVID as well. And then when COVID came, it's very difficult to get people to come out. Obviously, the risk of the virus, and then the police were clamping down hard on anybody that was doing anything on the streets. They didn't want you outside at all. I don't know what you guys were like over there, but you were allowed out, if I remember rightly, half an hour every day for exercise, like walking around and stuff, but you weren't allowed to be on the streets and stuff. I went out anyway. I was like, I was driving, I didn't for the first couple of weeks, and then I was driving to work one day and I seen a pig truck going to the slaughterhouse, and I thought, I can't sit at home. So I went out anyway. So I've been doing activism for a long time. Like almost immediately when I went vegan and watched Gary's speech, I started doing activism almost straight away.
Well, like you said, you learn as you go. The leaflets obviously was not the most effective form, or you'd still be doing that today instead of what you do. And so we learn and we grow over time. I think, I know Alex had something to say, but I'll sit on this. Alex, what do you have?
I was just gonna ask if your the way that you speak to people, has that changed over time? Like I know that many new vegans are very passionate, and like I didn't always speak as eloquently to people. It took me time to learn how to speak very eloquently. I know you have like the AV training, so were you always
I haven't done the protocol now, but I realized from doing AV very early on that I could have effective conversations. Like you can feel when you're talking to somebody in the street whether they're getting it or not. Have I changed over time? I think I've learned how to. There's always better ways to say things. This is why I encourage people to do We the Free or AV events, because when you're doing those events, you hear other activists having conversations. And numerous times when I was doing that, if somebody brought up a point or was arguing something, I'd have a debunk for it. But oftentimes you hear somebody else saying something and you think, that's actually a better thing to say. That's better. And like, I'm not precious, so if I can find a better way or a more effective way to say something and I learn it from somebody else, I'm going to use that. So it's good to be around other activists and hear what they're saying. But I haven't really changed because I try to. I don't know if you guys picked this up. This is my advice to activists when you're talking to somebody. Two things. Number one, I picked this up a long time ago. Don't attack people. Don't try and come across as non-judgy. Okay, you may feel in your head that judging people is the right way to go, but when you judge somebody and you're pointing fingers at somebody, somebody's going to put their shield up and they're going to feel attacked and they're not going to be open with you. So you'll oftentimes hear me saying to people, look, I'm not judging you because I used to pay for this too. I paid for it too. I'm not the biggest animal lover in the world, but I love animals. I love them dearly. And yet I was duped into doing this same thing. So I'm not judging you. I'm just asking you to think about it in a different way. So that's number one. And I was going to say a second thing. I lost my chain of thought. Go ahead and ask me a question and it'll come back to me.
What I've seen with your activism, like so the people that maybe people are tuning in for the first time, they're not familiar. Clif will typically hold a sign. And then actually I have a few questions about it, but he'll hold a sign and then it will usually be something that triggers some emotion and someone will come up to say something about the sign. And then Clif will ask them a series of questions. He won't tell them what to do. He won't tell them how to think. He won't tell them what's right or wrong. He'll ask them questions that if they answer honestly, I think most people would agree that it's wrong to abuse and kill animals. And so that's typically, at least how I've seen your activism that has been posted on your page be conducted.
I came up with this thing. I actually wrote it down. It took me about 6 months to come up with it. And I'm going to re-adopt it again because it's a very good form of getting people there quickly. I realized I was having conversations that were too long. It was taking too long to get to where I needed to be. Because when I'm out in the street, I don't want to rush people, but I also want to speak to as many people as possible. So I came up with the 4 questions. So the first question is, I asked them, what do they think of animals? And most people will say, oh, I love animals, blah, blah, blah. Most people. And then I say, what do you think of people who abuse animals or harm animals? And they'll all say things like, oh, they should be shot or they should be hung or they should be castrated. I've had that a few times and stuff like this. So now they're in a position where they have clarified that they love animals and that they are against harming animals. And then I'll say to them, well, what about the animals that go into slaughterhouses? The ones we turn into food and clothing, or the animals that we test on for cosmetics? And almost immediately you can see the penny drop with most people. Some people will get it straight away. Some people, cognitive dissonance kicks in and they start to try and defend it. And I'm like, well, you've literally told me 2 seconds ago you're against this and now you're going to try and defend it. So it's actually a very good way of getting people. If you can get people to tell me what they think before I ask them the killer question, then they're in a corner that they're like, okay, now how do I deal with this? And people, obviously, as you see, people deal with it in different ways,
And what was the fourth question?
I'm trying to think of the 4 questions. I actually have it on my phone somewhere here. It's so long since I've done it.
I'm trying to think if I remember.
So it's usually 3 or 4, whatever comes into my head. Do you know what? I'm not going to be able to find this on it. All right. Okay. Do you love animals, or how do you feel about animals? What do you think about people who cause harm to or abuse animals? Or then I asked them, what would you qualify as abuse, or how would you describe abuse? And people will say, well, kicking them, beating them, harming them. And then I say question 4. Now this is a trickier question. It's how do you feel about the industries that harm animals, slaughterhouses, farms, zoos, circuses, whatever? So they've already told me they're against harming animals, and they think people will often say, oh yeah, kicking a dog's bad and stuff. And then I'll say, well, if kicking a dog's bad, well, then why is it okay to cut another animal's throat? Why is it okay to electrocute animals? And what's the answer to that question? if you're being genuinely honest with yourself, what is the justification? And I strongly believe there isn't one. Even though people try and argue all sorts, there's no justification for it. If you don't have to do it, then why do we do it?
Yeah. It's brilliant because they're telling you exactly how they feel before you even ask that question. We had Jack Higgs on the last episode. Haven't released it yet, but he was telling us about some of the AV teachings, and it was to have them tell you what their perspective is first. So I love that you're like, the design of the question is just brilliant because you have them open up about where they're at, and then it's easy to debunk the other things with information and bring them back to where their values are, which they already told you in the beginning.
And of course, there are people who honestly do believe that we have to, so that's easy to debunk. Like most of the times I just say now, like, I haven't eaten animal products since I was 19, and here I am at 58, standing right in front of you. I am living proof that we do not have to. So what are you going to say to that?
Yep.
I'm probably sure. I haven't spent time in the UK. Actually, I would love to go. Here in the United States, like, we hear you have to get protein with all your meals. When I went to high school, there were like got milk posters. I was already vegan, and I'm looking at this like, that's crazy that they're like showing that you have to get this in school. And
they changed the bloody diet thing in America recently. Who's that guy that he talks like a duck? I can't remember his name. That senator guy. You know the guy I mean? He's got the
yeah.
I think that's the whole big thing. Yeah. We're going to push milk and dairy products and meat right to the top. We're going to turn the food pyramid upside down. Jeez.
It's all been messed up since day one anyways. The regular food pyramid says we need, meat and milk anyways. So it's always been wrong. It's still wrong. It's maybe more wrong. But when I first started dating my partner, she was not yet vegan, but like the conversation got started because she was interested in it. And we went and we walked in a park, and she was telling me some reasons why she felt she still needed to eat chicken and other animal products. And like, she's like, well, I listened to this podcast. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been trying to get healthy. I've cut out dairy because I know that that's not good for you, but I know we need some of the nutrients that's found in the meat. And I was like, which one? And she's like, well, protein. I'm like, but you can get that elsewhere. And she's like, well, I know there's other ones. I was like, okay, let's take this down just a notch. Instead of us watching a movie the other night, if I had invited you over to eat a hamburger, would you have said yes? And she's like, yeah, I would have. And if I said, let's go out to the backyard, we're going to take Annabelle from the shed, we're going to slit her throat, we're going to cut her skin off, we're going to cut her body up, and we're going to cook it together, would you do that with me? And she just looked at me like, is this guy crazy? I barely know him. Is he a serial killer? And like, she's like, I could never do that. And I was like, well, then you are vegan in your heart, just not yet in your actions. And I think that's where a lot of people are stuck. A lot of people have been brainwashed. So I think it's like you said, like the first rule is we can't attack or judge people with the activism, because if we truly believe they're a horrible person that's never going to change, or they're committing atrocities, then we're not going to bring the energy of that.
And how would you have felt, John, if you were walking down the street and you met an activist and they were like, you're a fucking terrible person, you shouldn't be doing this, you're shit, and pointing fingers at you and stuff? Even when I was vegetarian, if somebody had done that, I would have went, whoa, hang on there. I wouldn't have listened to that person.
Yeah.
So some people think I'm too soft with my activism. I don't think I am. I want people to listen and take in and absorb the information. It's more important that I give them the information than I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some people, I will tell some people to piss off. Like if I feel like they're saying something egregiously cruel or just being a troll, I'll just say, I've done it. I put a couple of videos up recently where I'm just like, you can just summarily dismiss these people. Like, you can go. I'm not interested. Why would I stand and talk to a person like that for 20 minutes when I can talk to 2 other people that are going to get it? Why would I waste my time?
100%. Yeah. I like, I'm sure some people think it's funny when you're like, I'm not going to shake your hand, or I'm not going to talk to you if you are saying that you're going to kill, like, that you don't bother you that you kill animals. Like, it doesn't matter. And you're making jokes about it. But like, I think it is just you being respectful with your own energy that you can put back in.
Can I ask you a question? What do you think of that when, like, sometimes I'll have a conversation and people do this, oh, well, we'll agree to disagree thing and go to shake my hand and stuff. And I'll be like, no, like, I feel like it's such an awful, terrible thing that they're still going to go and support that. I don't want to shake your hand. And do you feel like that's a bad thing or a good thing? I feel like I'm drawing a line and saying, this is my line. Like, so I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to respect you as a human being, but I'm not shaking your hand. I feel like if I shake your hand, like I'm somehow saying that it's okay for you to continue doing what you're doing.
I agree with you. I think what's going to disrupt their thinking pattern if you shake their hand and be like, oh, no, it's no big deal. You know, you'll get there when you get there versus like it's almost in our culture, it's almost expected. If someone reaches out to shake your hand, you shake their hand. It's almost expected of you. So if you don't, I don't know if that's going to make them go vegan, but it's going to give them one more chance to break that cycle and think like, why wouldn't he shake my hand? That's what I believe. I think it would have affected me.
I'll speak to them respectfully, but I'm not going to. Like, I feel like it's exactly what you say. I feel like if I shake their hand, it's like, oh, well, I'm okay if you don't go vegan. And I'm not. I'm really not. And that probably sounds judgmental when I'm saying not to judge people, but I think it's different once people know. There's a difference between Joe Blogs in the street that doesn't know and you give them the information and they can process that information, and somebody who does know the information and just goes, nah, I'm just going to do it anyway. There's a big difference there. A big difference.
I'm in the same boat. My dad recently asked me if I respect people who are not vegan, and I was like, I don't respect people who know exactly what happened and choose not to go vegan.
Yeah.
And who have done the research and know everything and still don't. Because I think it's a moral obligation if you know everything that happens.
I would agree with that. I give people a buy ball, but there's a certain point where I'm like, no, if I've explained to you about gas chambers and all these heinous things that happen in these industries and you're okay with it, you know, if they're okay, well, I'm going to consider that or whatever. There's a thing too. People try to force people to go vegan on the spot. To me, it's just a nonsense. You can't. How many people have you ever spoken to that went vegan on the spot? John, your example from earlier, that took you steps. Took me steps as well. I'm not advocating for baby steps, by the way, before somebody in the comment section. I'm not. I wish everybody would go vegan instantly, but you have to give people there's a reasonable time period for people who have been doing one thing their whole life to shift to another thing. It was easy for me because I was a strict vegetarian. It wasn't that big a leap, but for some people who have been eating meat and dairy products and wearing leather and stuff their whole life, you know, there's a transitional period that should be, 10 days, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at a push. If you're moving towards veganism and then you're vegan, I'm fine with that. Get rid of the stuff out of your cupboards, whatever. But if somebody's not going to make that shift and has no intention and they're just trolling me and then try to shake my hand, that's not happening. Not happening at all.
I think we can expect of people to go vegan based on the level of information and access and knowledge that they have, right? Like I have someone that helps us work and do a lot of the things that we do for Vegan Squad, and they live in a third world country. And I don't frankly know what their access to food and resources is like. I would think that they have plant-based options, but I don't know if they have the ability to turn down a meal or not. So I'm not here saying we need to go after people in other countries that might have some other insecurities or other things like food insecurities. Like that's not something to necessarily talk to people about. But if they're in a first world country and you're already buying food and you have the internet, it was different for me. I think I went vegetarian over time because I was 10 years old and didn't know how to cook. Like I didn't have a whole lot of options, but I went vegan the day that I read that magazine. And then I think now there's no reason somebody couldn't meet you on the street today, Cliff, and be like, wow, yeah, I need to do this. Let me go home and chat GPT. What's the easiest way to go vegan? Like they can figure it out if they want to. Yeah.
But it's rare. I mean, I've been around activism circles for a long time, and it is very rare to get somebody who goes vegan instantly. So I'm very hard line with it. Like if we sat and had a discussion on animal rights and stuff and everything, I feel I am quite hard line with it. Probably considered extreme, but I am sensible enough to know that when you give people new information, you have to give them a certain amount of time to take the information in, maybe go somewhere else and watch the Urofsky speech, maybe watch Dominion, and then decide, right, okay, I have to make new dietary choices now, what to buy and stuff. So if somebody's making those moves instantly or the next day and stuff, that's a good thing. Like, I'd never advocate for baby steps, but I don't expect to talk to somebody in the street and everybody just goes vegan like that. Like, that just rarely happens, and it puts an expectation on me that I used to hold on to. People used to walk away from me and I'd be like, oh, I wonder about that guy, I wonder if they going vegan. Now I walk away from it and I think, I cannot affect a single thing. Once that person leaves me, I've got a 2-minute window or a 20-minute window here with somebody. I will say the best that I can in that period of time. And if it's a 20-minute conversation and they're talking to me for an extended period of time, I tend to think that they are interested in taking it in. If it's a 2 or 3-minute conversation, I tend to be a wee bit, I'll try and say something that leaves a sting with them, that they will think, well, why does he think I'm an animal abuser or something? And that might come across as harsh, but I want them to think about it when they walk away from me, one way or the other. So depending on the person and depending on how long they're with me, it depends what I say.
Yeah, how many seeds you can plant. Do you give people resources after they talk to you? Like,
I've actually changed that recently, Alex. So I do. I have a card. I have a little card with, so there's Dominion, the Urofsky speech, a few nutritional ones, just places people can go to see other information. I think I have Cowspiracy on there, Seaspiracy. So I do, but I've stopped. You see, if somebody's trolling now, because sometimes people are trolling you, and I'm thinking, like, there was a couple of farmers, it's over a year ago now, who were absolute assholes. They were blowing smoke in my face and being aggressive and stuff. And for me, there's no value in that conversation, because those guys are not going to change, and they were calling their cows old whores and stuff. Sure, they're only old whores and all this, and so, but I didn't back down to them for a second. And do you know what? The whole time I was speaking to them, all I was thinking in my head was, dude, just keep talking, because I am going to show people on the internet how you guys really, because all these farmers, oh, I love my animals and I care for my animals, and when you catch these people off guard, oftentimes that's a lot of crap. All the cows are resources. They're slaves and resources to them, and they're money. And the way those two guys talked about those cows, like, yeah, I better not say anything bad about them. But anyway, I was just thinking, talk away. I used to give people who trolled me cards, and now I don't, because then they can find my Instagram, and then when I put it up, and a lot of people, not those guys in particular, but I talk to people all the time who talk trash about animals, and they look like absolute prats. And I'll put it up, and now they've got my card with my Instagram on it, and they'll come into my DMs. Oh, you need to take that down. That's terrible. You shouldn't be putting that up. You didn't, even though it says on my sign I'm filming. You didn't tell me you were filming and stuff. Not that I need to. In the UK, you can film in public wherever you want. There's no law against it. But they just cry in my comments because I think they realise they look like absolute dickheads. So now I don't give those people cards because I can't be bothered.
Give them a card.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the place and tell them you take this video down. I'm like, why do you want this taken down? Like, can you not stand over what you actually said at the time? So true. Most people I give cards to now, but I don't. The people that are there to troll, because they realise when the video comes up how bad they look, you know.
Maybe them seeing themselves look foolish would make them think. But yeah, I think while I expect reasonable people to go vegan instantaneously, I realize that's a really high expectation. I think more so, at least the way I conduct my activism, whatever it is, like whether it's in person or online, is like I try to speak to my younger self. Like if I could have found myself at 10 years old or 13 years old before I learned the other information, would the things I'm saying have resonated with me and made me want to go more in this direction? And that's kind of the standard I hold myself to.
I agree. I wish I had met myself when I was 10 or 15 years old.
Shoot, I wish I met myself when I was like 2,
Yeah.
like I'm 3. Like I think honestly, if we could get, I would go do activism with 5-year-olds if they had the ability to control what their parents bought. I think like college age students is probably a great spot to be, especially if they've just left home, they have control of some of their finances. Like that I think would be like the way Gary did, going to universities. I think that would be a great spot because they have the ability to go vegan, not just the heart like a child would.
I've done university talks and school talks here, and most of them are very receptive. But yeah, I always it sucks for young people if you have parents that are going to insist that. You know, when I told my mum I was stopping eating pork and stopping drinking milk and all that stuff, she was fine with it. Like, she was really, really cool with it. I'm a dad. And so I always say to kids, there's loads of kids, 14, 15, 16, will stop in groups to talk to me. And I always say to them, well, you know, talk to your parents. If your parents are decent people and they love you, and you go home to your parents and you say, hey, folks, I don't want to eat animal products anymore or whatever. Why would decent parents not listen to you? Why would they go, no, you have to exploit and you have to abuse animals. It's not your choice. That would be a shitty parent and I know some people do probably have shitty parents, but there's also loads of reasonable parents out there like mine who would support those choices. Especially if you have the resource and can say, yeah, well look, oh, your parent goes, oh no, you need it for protein, and no, but the science here on this resource that I've been given says completely otherwise. It says that you don't. And if you can assure your parents and let them sit and watch, should it be Gary's speech, or should it be Cowspiracy, or should it be some of the nutrition ones, you know, then why would they not support you? If you're their child and they love you, why would they not support you in your choices? And there's enough people like you. I mean, if somebody says they need protein and they look at the likes of you, like it's quite obviously a load of bollocks.
True.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of parents probably are just completely uneducated, and like realistically, like they should be having their children go vegan, even just to be good parents, even if they don't care about animals, because it's healthier for their children. It's just clearly our governments are still pushing meat because there's money to be made there. So
obviously that choice that Trump and his affiliates made with the food thing, I mean, anybody with a mind to think knows that was lobbying caused that. Like, oh, it's so obvious. Like, money talks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It's really unfortunate
on people.
True. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that our society is so money driven. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of factors to it, but I feel like they know that meat and dairy and animals, like eating animals, causes so many health issues for us, but they would rather profit off of the animal agriculture industries and then profit off the pharmaceuticals and then profit off of hospitals to take care of us and make us more sick so that we can't, you know, and we have to, quote unquote, you know, use all the medical services that they provide, but really it's just a system so that we continue to spend money.
Yeah, the system sucks, no doubt about it. It's not an excuse for us at an individual level, but the system freaking sucks.
Yeah. And it takes so much individual effort to break out of it. Not that much once you actually get into it. Like, it's not hard to be vegan. It's not hard to make choices where you buy vegan leather, buy, you know, vegan cosmetics. It really is just about education. I think the most difficult part of being vegan is not knowing other vegans, but there's social media now and there's ways where you can meet others. And yeah, I think it's
education's everything, absolutely
exactly.
Everything. And do you know what? I mean, I don't want people to feel like we can't fight the system. The system is scared of us for sure. Like, even small signs of it I see. Like last week, there was a big court case here in the UK, and Oatly can no longer call themselves oat milk. They have to call themselves something else now. This is a decision in some high up court somewhere, brought by the meat and dairy industry to court so they couldn't use the word milk. Well, why do they care? They care because they see how many people are shifting to plant-based milks. So we can have an effect, and they are scared of us. If they weren't scared of us, they wouldn't be taking that to court. So I see that as, I actually see it, a lot of people are like negative about it. I see it as a positive because it shows us how scared they are of us and how scared they are of the truth.
True, and the impact that's being made, causing that by vegans and by people choosing more plant-based options.
Exactly. I remember Joey was over here one time and he gave a wee speech, and he said the truth, I think it's St. Augustine or St. Augustus said it, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. You just set it free and it will defend itself. So that's the one thing, that's the most powerful thing we have on our side, is the truth that they don't have. So the truth always wins in the end. It might take a lot of years, but we'll get there. I'm positive we'll get there. Not in my lifetime, but
yeah, I think we're, in my eyes, we're leading a revolution right now. Like it's just a very early, like I've said this before, once we get to like 50% of the world as vegans, I think we should have a hostile takeover and shut down all factory farms.
I would do it sooner.
But like we're at 1%, so our job isn't to fight the war. Our job is to wake everyone up right now, and I think that's what it is. So I'm curious, Cliff, like obviously you still take great care of yourself physically, but what do you do for someone who's been in this for a long time? What do you do for your mental health? Like I know it's, at least for me, it's uncomfortable doing some activism, and it can take a toll, especially like it feels great when you have a productive conversation. It can also feel hard when you don't, but also just being in this realm of an animal rights activist, like how do you take care of yourself mentally, and what would you maybe give as advice for other people looking to get into this, or other people in this that could use some help?
I don't think you're going to like my answer to this, because the answer is pretty much nothing. And I'm not being facetious saying that. My good friend Sean is quite spiritual and stuff, and he's always saying to me, how do you deal with this and how are you coping with it? And I don't really have a coping mechanism, to be honest. I just live my life and do as much activism and do as many things as I can. I don't want to say I'm different than everybody else. I have a switch in my head where I can just, okay, I have to do this today. No matter how I'm feeling or how rough I feel or how down I am, which is not very often. I just feel this compulsion to go out and speak for them animals no matter what. It's just a drive I have within me, and I don't think I will ever quit. I can't see myself ever quitting. So as for, I do the usual things. I'm spending time at home here with Mia and stuff and all the rest of it, but I don't have a program to cope with for my mental health. Maybe somebody could help me with that. I don't know. But the drive is more important to me. The drive to make change is more important. And again, this is not ego driven or being facetious or anything. The drive to try and help animals overpowers everything else.
Do you feel like when you walk away from activism, from being on the street, like you're able to kind of just redirect your thoughts from everything that you just talked about with people?
I can do more so now. Like I've learned, that was one thing I learned, is to try and not, because I used to, particularly in the AV days, I would lie in bed at night and think, that guy I was talking to earlier, I wonder, should I have said this, or I wonder what he's doing. And now I don't. Like that, it was actually Sean, and he was here this morning, and it was him told me that many years ago. It was like, once people leave you, Cliff, you have to realize that that's it. There's nothing more you can do. And you just have to hope that those people join the dots or connect the dots. Or I actually learned a very good thing. Let me explain. It was Joy again taught me this. So I see people on a spectrum. When I'm talking to somebody on the street, have you heard this before? I will mentally number that person somewhere between 1 and 10. Okay, so if it's a farmer who doesn't give a shit about animals, he's going to be at a 1. And then maybe a 3 is somebody who has a pet dog and they love their dog. And maybe somebody who's a 6 or a 7 is a vegetarian, and somebody who's an 8 is a vegetarian who thinks they're doing enough for the animals. And obviously a 10, I'm not saying vegans are perfect people, but in this spectrum, you want somebody to get to 10. So when I talk to somebody in the street, I see it as my job to give them 2 or 3 points, not actual points, to get them from a 1 to a 4, or to get them in their way of thinking. If they're a 4 or a 5, I want to get them to a 6 or a 7. And if they're a 7 upwards, I could probably, hopefully, get that person to be vegan very soon after talking to me or whatever. So I see that as my job, and I feel that's a more productive way to think about it than trying to get. You're not going to get somebody who's a 1 or a 2 to go vegan on the spot. That's just not going to happen. So I try to give them as much information as I can to get them up that scale as far as I can. And then the way I think about it is, well, maybe they'll go home. I've got them to a 7. They'll go home, and at the weekend it's raining outside, and they'll go, oh, where's that card? Well, I'll watch this speech this guy's talking about. Well, that's going to get that person to a 10 straight away. If they're a 3 or a 4, they'll maybe be in town another day, and there'll be an AV Cube of Truth or a We the Free event on, and they'll speak to somebody there, and that person can give them 2 or 3 more points. So that's how I think about it now. Yes, I am trying to make people go vegan on the spot. It doesn't happen. I give them as much information and try and get them as far up that scale as I possibly can, and then hope that some other activist or something online or a PETA leaflet or whatever will get them to the finishing line. That's how I see it. I think that's a healthy way to think about it.
Yeah, I agree.
If you go on to the street and think, I'm trying to get people to go vegan on the spot, and you talk to 10 people and nobody goes vegan on the spot, and the same thing happens at the next event you're at, you're going to get frustrated, and you're putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. You can only do the best that you can do. So sure. I would encourage activists to think on it in that way, to get the people, push them up the scale as far as you can, and hopefully get them there.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I respect and admire the level of detachment that you can have when you finish those conversations, and putting yourself back into the present moment, coming back home and being able to just detach and know that you did a good job and you did the thing that you were supposed to do that day, communicating with people.
All I'm doing is I do the best I can. That's it.
Exactly.
And I can come home and edit that work and put it online. But like I said, oftentimes people I've been speaking to will message and ask questions and stuff, and that's great. But I can't force anybody to do a single thing. You'll hear me say that to him. Dude, I can't force you to do anything. It's your choice from here on out. So that's the way we have to view it. I mean, if we could force people, if we could make a law tomorrow, yes. If I was king of the world, first law would be everybody's vegan. Sorry, guys. That shit's over with now. But we don't live on that planet, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that's a huge piece of advice that we could share with other activists, is that scale, so that they don't get burnt out, but also maybe even adding maybe 1 to 11, because 10 would be vegan, right? 11 would be activist.
Yeah, an activist. Yep.
And then I wish I had, vegan since 13. I wish someone like myself had came and talked to me and be like, hey, you're doing a really good job. Like, you're doing a hard thing right now, but if you were in the animal shoes, would you just want you to be vegan, or would you want people to hear about it? Mm-hmm. Would you want to speak about it? And I think I would have had that conversation and been like, I think you're right. I think I should talk more. And I identify with you a lot here, Cliff, on the switch that just kind of stays in the stuck on position. It's almost like, yes, I'm tired. Yes, I would love to just go sleep for a week. Yes, I would love to not. I would love it if the world was vegan tomorrow and I didn't have to speak about this.
I don't want to be doing this, man, with my free time. I don't want to be doing this.
But I think it feels like, what's the easiest way for you to live your life? What's the easiest way for me to live my life is to go do this. It would feel too hard to not do this.
I agree.
So
I could not do it. Like I say, during COVID, I didn't go out for the first couple of weeks. I was probably quite scared and worried about what was happening at first. And then I saw those trucks and I was like, I'm going out anyway. And I used to be doing interviews and the odd people out in the streets, and the police would come and hassle me, and they never arrested me for it. And I just kept doing it. So I just felt driven I can't sit in my house while animals are being dragged in the gas chambers. I can't do it. So I have that drive and fire within me that I may seem quite mild-mannered, and I am. Like, I'm a calm, mild-mannered person, but I also have a great drive inside me as well.
I can see that.
So I'm very glad that I have that, and yeah, I encourage everybody who's vegan to any opportunity you get to speak for the animals, flip and do it, because the animals can't. We are all the animals have. Like, you think of the number of vegans in the world, right? There are a lot of millions of us, despite us being a small percentage of 8 billion is a lot of people. Well, how many of those people are activists? Activists where you're going to vigils or going to AV or We the Free or out speaking by yourself. It's not that many. And the animals are, they have their own voice. We've just put them in a position where they cannot speak for themselves, or we're taught not to hear it. So who else is going to do it? Who's going to speak for them? It has to be us, right? Has to be us.
Yeah.
Just want to say, Pedro just commented he's been vegan for 3 years, and he's never done any activism other than talking to his friends, and your content is pushing him to do more activism in Brazil. Thank you. So
do it, man. Do it. That's really cool. Absolutely do it.
That's what I'm seeing. Like, I watch your page to learn. I want to learn the conversations you use, the tactics you use. But your page is more than just education. It's inspirational. It makes me want to go and do more things like this, and realize that, like, for me, it wouldn't just be those 10 conversations on the street. It's, can I share this to millions of people online? And
can I show you something? Can I juke over there 10 seconds to show you something? Because I think I'll be honest. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Can't wait to see.
Me too.
Wow, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
We gotta stick together. I think that's another moral of this story is learning from one another and being able to connect with one another like this. It makes this whole journey more bearable, at least for me.
I'm back. So I have a good camera that I use for other stuff, okay? And I need to use it more on the street. And now my partner Mia has started doing activism, and we're going out together, and she can film for me. But lots of my content, that's it.
Very small and discreet.
A second-hand GoPro with a little media mod on it and the little wireless. That's it. So I'm actually really proud of myself. I put that on a monopod, and I use like a bungee cord around a lamppost or a tree, and I hit record, and that's it. And my page is up to like 61 or 62,000 now, which is for me like a 58-year-old boomer from Belfast in Northern Ireland, just out on the streets, man. A second-hand GoPro and a little Rode microphone, and that's it. So anybody can do it. I used to know an activist went out, and she used to write on a card. It didn't even cost her anything for a sign, and she picked up an old second-hand phone for 15 quid or something. She was filming on that. So it doesn't cost a lot to be an activist. You can literally do it for almost buttons. Yeah. And perhaps make an amazing difference for the animals,
And like most of our phones now, the cameras are good enough. All you really would need is a mic. Like, that would be it.
Yeah.
So
I remember when James Aspey came over here back in the day, and we did street activism together. He was filming on his phone, and like his Instagram and YouTube and stuff back in the day was absolutely huge. And he was just using a phone. I couldn't believe it. I was thought he was going to arrive with a tripod and a massive camera and stuff, and he was just filming on his phone. So it can be done. It can be done.
Can people see your camera, or is it more discreet?
No, so if I was standing here, the lamppost of the tree that I normally stand at, there's a couple of trees and a couple of lampposts, so it just depends if there's buskers and stuff about. But I do not hide that I'm filming at all. Not at all. And also, I'm standing with a microphone. So these little microphones, this is the receiver, but the other one looks the same. I'll show you. So you can just do that, or you could put it backwards. So you could have a conversation with somebody recording on that, and they don't even know that's there. They just think you're a guy having conversations on the street. Now I just use that clips into a mic, like a handle and a sponge over the top, and I just talk to people with that. Because I realized there's quite a lot of city noise, believe it or not. And I read somewhere that sound with film, when you're filming something, sound's more important than image quality. Sound's much more important. And I find that the closer you can get that to somebody's mouth when they're talking, particularly in a city with loads of ambient noise in the background, the closer you can get that to somebody's mouth. So now I just use the microphone, and people don't seem to care. The odd time they'll go, "Are you filming here?" And I'm like, "Well, dude, I've got a microphone in my hand." But the camera's right there, and nobody has ever. You get, like I say, you get the odd person that's been an ass, and then they'll message me saying, "Oh, you take this down." But no, I just openly film people and record it on a mic. And do you know what? Teenagers and stuff, if they know you're filming for YouTube or Instagram and stuff, a lot of them will come to you for that reason. They actually want to. So yeah, it can be a positive as well.
That's so cool.
When I take my good camera out, which is something I want to do more often with me, people are attracted to a decent camera, believe it or not. So it can work either way over.
It's good to know. I feel like I've always been a little bit cautious with like filming in public, because I think in my mind I was like, people aren't gonna want to talk if they know they're being filmed.
People are fine with it now. Different era now, different age. The people are fine with it now, and there's cameras everywhere. Anywhere, everybody's holding a camera in their hand all the time.
True.
So I remember I went to Trafalgar Square about 3 years ago in London, and I was filming, and the square itself must be privately owned or something, and the security guy came and said, "Oh, you can't be filming on here." I was like, "Are you having a laugh?" Because Trafalgar Square is a big like touristy spot, and he was like, "No, you're not allowed to film on here." And I said, "I'll go," but I said, "I'll go at the same time as you tell everybody that's holding the phone right now." There was like all these tourists like doing this. I was like, "Are you going to move all those people as well?" And he was like, "That's a fair point." And I just kept on filming. Like sometimes people just chance their arm with you to try and get you away. So yeah, it was quite funny actually.
All right, Cliff. Well, we're gonna wrap up here right now. I'll put all your contact info below so that people can go find your page and follow you if they don't already know who you are. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for helping pave the way. It's people like you that have been doing this for a very long time that made it a little bit easier.
Can I just say one thing? I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. So it was people like Joey Carbstrong and Ed and Paul Bashir as well, and people like that inspired me to get out there and do it. So I mean, I started activism and doing what I'm doing standing on their shoulders. So they paved the way for me, and Gary as well paved the way. I just took the baton and ran with it for my leg now. So hopefully other people will pick up a baton as well and get out in the streets.
Yeah. Thank you for passing it forward to us now and all the people who are listening as well.
Yeah. I think that's our job, right? Like maybe they started it and you made it a little better or a little faster, or a little further. And then if we can make it easier for the next generation, if we just keep making this easier every year, more people will do this. If we inspire more people to speak up, we make it easier for the people that just will eat less animal products, we'll make a global shift. And so you did it when it was a lot harder. It's not so hard, at least from a food perspective. I think societally it's so hard, but
I mean, we're all vegan here, right? Going vegan is the easiest thing I've ever done. And and if you speak to any vegan a few weeks, they'll all say, "Oh, isn't it hard and stuff?" And then when they go vegan, like everybody else, 2 or 3 weeks in, they'll tell you literally the easiest thing I've ever done. It's the difference between reaching over here and picking up dairy milk, or reaching over here and picking up a carton of oat milk or soya milk. That's how hard it is for 90% of the planet, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's good.
Sorry. Well, but people like you did this a long time ago, Cliff, and now there's more options. It is easier now because of people like you and people like me. I've been buying vegan products for 20 years. So it is easier now because of people like us. And so the number of excuses to not go are constantly shrinking.
Zero.
Yeah. And I'm excited for episodes like this and for more conversations to be had, and to empower new vegans to be okay with being different in a setting and being okay with speaking up for why they're vegan. I feel like a lot of people are also scared to go vegan because they don't want to be the odd person out to speak up and to be like, yo, I'm not going to eat the products that everybody's eating or the animals everyone else is eating. So I'm excited to empower more people to speak their truth and their beliefs and be okay with being the different.
Something I've never felt is I feel like I'm doing the right thing and I don't care what other people think about me.
Same.
Was that there's no other conversation to be had. I want to do the right thing, and I want to do the right thing by animals. And if somebody thinks that's weird or extreme, I don't care. Don't care at all.
Yep, I'm in the same boat. I think we all are. So that's awesome. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much, Cliff. It was awesome to learn from you, and thank you for everything you do. Yeah, thank you, brother.
You guys too.
And we'll see you when you come to Florida.
Yes, let's do it.
So stoked. We should do some activism together.
That would be so cool. That would be really cool.
Let's do it. All right, man. This stream.